Imagine sitting in an interceptor cockpit during the height of the Cold War. Radar operators have detected an aircraft approaching from thousands of miles away. At first, nobody believes the readings. The target is simply moving too fast. Fighters scramble, missile crews prepare for launch, but the mysterious aircraft doesn't slow down. It climbs above 70,000 feet. Then it races across the sky at more than 3 times the speed of sound. It's not a sleek fighter. It's not an experimental spy plane. It's one of the largest bombers ever built. For a brief moment in history, America believed this machine would make every enemy air defense obsolete. They called it the XB-70 Valkyrie, a 6-engine giant that looked like it belonged in the next century. A bomber capable of crossing continents at Mach 3. A machine so advanced that even today it still looks futuristic. Yet despite achieving nearly everything its engineers promised, the Valkyrie never entered military service. How could one of the greatest aircraft ever built become one of aviation's biggest dead ends? This is the incredible story of the giant bomber that was faster than today's fighter jets. To understand the XB-70, you first have to understand the world that demanded its existence. The 1950s were defined by one thing: fear. The United States and the Soviet Union stood locked in a nuclear standoff where neither side could afford to fall behind. America's strategic bomber force, led by the dependable B-52 Stratofortress, formed the backbone of its nuclear deterrent. But military planners knew one uncomfortable truth: technology never stands still. Soviet radar systems were becoming more sophisticated. Interceptor aircraft were flying faster every year. Surface-to-air missiles were reaching higher than ever before. Eventually, bombers flying at subsonic speeds would become vulnerable. The Air Force believed there was only one solution. Instead of building a bomber that could survive enemy defenses, build one that no defense could catch. The requirement bordered on science fiction: cruise at Mach 3, fly above 70,000 feet, carry a nuclear payload across continents, return home. It sounded impossible. North American aviation accepted the challenge anyway. Designing the Valkyrie meant rewriting the rules of aircraft engineering. At Mach 3, ordinary airplanes simply couldn't survive. Air friction heated the skin to temperatures approaching 600 degrees Fahrenheit. Aluminum, the material used on most aircraft, would weaken under that kind of heat. Engineers had to develop new construction techniques using stainless steel honeycomb panels and titanium components capable of enduring the punishment. Every line of the aircraft served a purpose. Its needle-like nose reduced drag. Its enormous delta wing generated stability at extreme speed. Even the bright white paint wasn't chosen for appearance. It reflected heat generated during sustained supersonic flight. Nothing about the Valkyrie was designed to look impressive. It simply ended up looking that way because physics demanded it. More than 185 feet long, with a wingspan exceeding 105 feet, the XB-70 rivaled commercial airliners in size. Yet this enormous aircraft would eventually cruise faster than many fighter jets. That combination remains astonishing even today. Power came from 6 General Electric YJ-93 turbojet engines mounted beneath the rear fuselage. Together, they generated enough thrust to push the giant bomber beyond Mach 3. When the afterburners ignited, witnesses described the roar as something they didn't merely hear, but physically felt. But raw power wasn't the Valkyrie's greatest innovation. Its true genius came from aerodynamics. Normally, shock waves are an enemy of high-speed aircraft. The engineers behind the XB-70 had an extraordinary idea. Instead of fighting the shock waves, why not use them? This became known as compression lift. As the bomber accelerated, specially designed surfaces trapped compressed air beneath the aircraft, allowing it to ride part of its own shock wave. Its distinctive folding wingtips, which drooped downward during supersonic flight, enhanced this effect while improving stability. Very few aircraft before or since have used such an elegant solution. The Valkyrie wasn't simply faster than other bombers. it was flying in an entirely different way. On September 21st, 1964, years of development finally paid off. The first XB-70 lifted off from the runway. Every successful test expanded its performance envelope. First, it exceeded the speed of sound, then Mach 2, eventually Mach 3. The impossible had become reality. Pilots described an almost surreal experience. They were sitting inside one of the largest military aircraft ever built. Yet the instruments displayed speeds normally associated with cutting-edge fighters. For aviation enthusiasts, it was one of the most remarkable engineering achievements of the Cold War. It appeared America had built the bomber of the future. Unfortunately, the future had already begun changing. While engineers perfected the Valkyrie, military technology evolved even faster. In 1960, the Soviet Union shocked the world by shooting down an American U-2 spy plane. The message was clear. Flying higher no longer guaranteed survival. Meanwhile, surface-to-air missiles continued advancing at an astonishing pace. Then came an even greater revolution: intercontinental ballistic missiles. Unlike bombers, ICBMs didn't need pilots. They crossed continents in minutes. They couldn't easily be intercepted, and they cost less than maintaining fleets of Mach 3 strategic bombers. The very mission the Valkyrie had been built to perform was disappearing before it even entered service. The aircraft itself hadn't failed. The battlefield had changed. Then disaster struck. On June 8, 1966, one of the XB-70 prototypes participated in a formation photo shoot alongside several military aircraft. Everything appeared routine. Then an F-104 starfighter drifted dangerously close. The powerful wingtip vortices created by the enormous bomber destabilized the smaller fighter. Within seconds, the F-104 collided with the Valkyrie. The impact proved catastrophic. The fighter disintegrated instantly. The XB-70 rolled violently before breaking apart high above the California desert. Test pilot Joe Walker lost his life. XB-70 co-pilot Carl Cross was also killed. Only pilot Al White survived after ejecting moments before impact. The horrifying accident was captured on film and remains one of aviation's most haunting recordings. For many people, it became the defining image of the entire program. Only one XB-70 remained. Its role changed forever. Instead of becoming the world's fastest operational bomber, it became one of NASA's most valuable flying laboratories. Researchers used it to study high-speed aerodynamics, structural heating, shockwave behavior, advanced flight controls, and the effects of sustained supersonic flight. Many lessons learned from the Valkyrie later influenced aircraft and aerospace research programs that followed. Ironically, the bomber made its greatest contribution not through war, but through science. Most canceled military projects fade into history. The Valkyrie never did. Part of the reason is obvious. Even 60 years later, it still looks like tomorrow. But its lasting appeal goes much deeper. The XB-70 represents an era when engineers attacked impossible problems with breathtaking ambition. If America wanted a bomber capable of flying at Mach 3, someone would find a way. If existing technology didn't exist, they would invent it. The Valkyrie became proof that human imagination often advances faster than military strategy. Its greatest achievement wasn't changing warfare. It was proving what engineering could accomplish. The XB-70 Valkyrie is often remembered as a failure. That depends entirely on how you define success. It never entered operational service. It never replaced the B-52. It never became America's ultimate strategic bomber. Yet it proved that an aircraft the size of an airliner could cruise at Mach 3. It pioneered revolutionary aerodynamic concepts. It expanded humanity's understanding of high-speed flight, and decades later, few aircraft inspire as much fascination. Sometimes history doesn't reject an idea because it's bad. Sometimes it simply arrives at the wrong moment. The XB-70 wasn't defeated by enemy fighters. It wasn't defeated by poor engineering. It was defeated by a world that changed faster than it did. And that may be the greatest irony of all. The giant bomber that could outrun fighters could never outrun history. The XB-70 Valkyrie proved that sometimes the most incredible machines aren't defeated by better technology, but by history itself. So what do you think? If the missile age hadn't arrived, could the Valkyrie have become the greatest strategic bomber ever built? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of aviation's boldest engineering achievements, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more military history and legendary aircraft documentaries, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.